All right, we got a 10th gen Accord in the shop today, and gonna be throwing coilovers on this thing. So as you can see, it's got some pretty crazy fitment right now. Front's not as bad as the rear, but jeez. So he has some this is Ethan's car. I don't know if he's been on the channel yet actually, but you guys will see him. So got some truharts. I got the other two over there, but some used truhart coilovers. Well, I don't think these have dampening or anything like that. They're like not the nicest coilovers. They're not bad though. They are used, and yeah. So I think I'm just gonna get into it. Probably do the backs first. If I remember correctly, I believe the backs are more of a pain than the fronts, but overall, this car is pretty simple to do. For the rear, I'm just gonna jack it up real quick and then kind of show you guys what we gotta do. All right, got the tire off, got the car jacked up. Can't get the tire off, you probably shouldn't be doing coilovers, but obviously just the 5 lug nuts. So first thing I'm gonna do is probably just go ahead and take this bolt out right here. So that will basically lower this down. No voice crack. But and then you can pull this thing out. So put a jack stand out here, and you want to have the jack underneath this, so because there is pressure, the spring does have pressure on it still. So when you take this bolt out, if you don't have the jack on it, first of all, it's going to be super hard to get out, and second of all, if you do get it out, it's probably going to shoot down. So just to be safe, you want to have a jack underneath it in case it does decide to shoot down. But usually it gets a little stuck, so you get to tap it with a hammer. We'll see. I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, so I got the bolt loosened up, and probably just pull it right out, I think. Like that. Of course, got the jack underneath there. Next thing you want to do, take like a pry bar, get in there with it somewhere that you can pry down on it, just like this. And then you can pretty much pull that spring right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, we got the spring out. It is kind of a pain you can disconnect the rear sway bar link and loosen up this bolt in the back so that this goes down way easier. But I didn't do that. Since I've done this a few times now, I know I don't have to loosen those up. You can get this out. It is pretty tight, but eventually you can get it out. What I did is just pry down on it, and as well as I slowly worked it out right here. I pried on the spring, slowly popped it out so it was like a little sideways. And I pried down here, pushed this down, and it came right out. So pretty simple, not too bad. Next thing I'm gonna do is take off, I believe it's a 17 millimeter bolt for this shock right here. And once I pull that out, there is 2 bolts, I think. Yeah, 2 bolts up here. They look like 12 millimeters. I disconnect each one of those, and you can pull this shock right out as well. All right, so I got the 2 top bolts and the 1 bottom bolt out, as you can see right there. So now I can just pretty much pull it right out, just like that, and the shock is already out. So luckily, Hondas, they're pretty simple to do. Yeah, now basically what you're gonna do is, since the truhart coils, the shock does not come with this top mount, you basically have to transfer this top mount over to the top of that shock, as you can see. So there's a little cap, you gotta pull this cap off, and there's like a 14 millimeter nut, I believe, and you basically just unscrew it, take this piece and put it onto the new shock. All right, so as you can see, we got the top mount on the new shock. I just gotta put this little cap on right here, pretty much take it, and it clips right on, just like that. And now we can go ahead and take this thing and put it up into the car. So I'll get those 2 top bolts in, and then I will get the bottom one in, and then go from there. All right, so as you can see, got the shock in, and now we can go ahead and you want to remove these off the old spring. I believe these are supposed to come with different, what are these called? Whatever they call these, like just rubber bushings, rubber mounts. but since these are used, we didn't get these, so I modified these so they will fit. Basically, I just had to cut a little piece right here off on this one where it wraps around the spring, because on this, there won't be a spring anymore, and it has to fit inside of there, just like that. So it'll work. And then put this one on the bottom, because on these back coilovers, so normally these usually sit on the bottom like this, and the shock or the spring sits on top of it. But on these, I believe it is on the top and it sits on top of the spring. So it's a little different, at least from most of the stuff I do, such as like this car right here. That one, the spring sits on top of that, but I guess this is how you do it. You put it like this instead. So basically, go ahead and put this spring in and show you guys what it looks like. All right, so got it in. Basically, same thing. I just pried down here. This is way easier to get in than the original spring, wherever I put it, right here, because this is way taller. So this is much harder to get out than that is to get back in. So got it in now. Could put this bolt in, and we're pretty much done. Just put the tire back on, see how it sits. Oh, and I'm gonna go ahead, do the other side, and then show you guys what the rear fitment's looking like. So we just got both sides done, and definitely looks a lot better. There was a huge gap before, so not bad. Obviously, doing the fronts, it is gonna lower the rear a little bit, I think. So once it's all evened out, but not bad. So we're gonna do the fronts, and I probably will end up adjusting the rear because I don't think it's gonna be low enough, even with the fronts done. I just left them the way they were set at, but definitely gonna have to adjust them. Also, Ethan's gonna get this fixed. Someone hit him in a parking lot when he was parked. Came outside and that. So, and this got cracked from the person backing into him, of course, right after he gets the car. Oh, this is a 2.0T too. I don't think I mentioned that. This is the Type R engine in it. So I am gonna be making, I think I'm gonna do a custom intake on this car soon. I'm gonna TIG weld a stainless intake on it, and we're gonna do a few other things on this, but he does want to make it fast, which you can make these pretty quick. I don't know if he's gonna end up doing a Type R turbo, but he's definitely gonna do a downpipe intake. He's gonna need Honda obviously to tune it, but or K tuner, K Pro, I mean, or one of the two, and then this thing will actually be a pretty good sleeper. And S2K is still in here, just giving you guys the rundown real quick. Cylinder head's off. You saw the last video, or a few videos back. I don't know when this one's getting uploaded. But basically, I told you guys that we were gonna try and run it, even though it has this pretty big score inside the cylinder, as well as a few other little ones all over this one cylinder, the number 2 cylinder. Mark is now deciding we're gonna pull it out, sleeve it, and basically build the short block. He already got the built head, cams, valves, springs, everything. So now he's gonna go ahead and build the short block. So you guys will probably see a video on this pretty soon. So yeah, let's get to the fronts. All right, so got the car jacked up now, got this tire off. What you're gonna have to do is basically, it's pretty simple. Take these 3 nuts off the top, and then there's one bolt right here just to get this bracket out of the way. And I believe it's a 17 millimeter right here. And basically this will just drop down. And oh, and you also got to take off the sway bar end link right here. And this will basically just come right out. I usually take off those ones last. That way I can get out of the bottom first and then loosen the top, and it just pulls right out. Also, you want to make sure that both tires are off the ground. If they aren't, it's going to be hard to get this sway bar end link off, and this sway bar will be hitting the axle when you try and push the hub down to get this out. So if you don't have it jacked up, this will basically be up more, and when you try and push this down, because it's about probably like 3-4 inches you got to push it down. It'll end up hitting the sway bar and you won't be able to push it down enough to get this strut out. So you want to make sure the other side is also jacked up as well when you're doing each side. And I'm going to do them together and show you guys how to do it. All right, so I got this bracket off, that bolt out, and the nut on the sway bar end link. And now I still have these 3 bolts or nuts up here tightened down. And basically should be able to just tap it. All right, so as you can see, got the strut out from there. Pretty much just slides out. It's not too bad. Now we can go ahead and get the new coil in. And basically same thing. You can just slide it right on top into the hub or knuckle, steering knuckle, whatever you want to call it. And then put the 3 bolts or studs up to the top, put the nuts on, connect the sway bar end link in that bracket, and you're all set. All right, so got it all tightened down up here, got everything back on, sway bar end link, the bracket, that bolt right here is tightened back down, and it's all set. Same with the other side, got this one all set as well. So now it's time to put the wheels back on and see how this thing sits. All right, so we got it on the ground, and looks pretty good. So I think the front's pretty much good. I don't think he's gonna want it lower than that, since if you've seen how Ethan drives, this thing will be destroyed in 2 seconds if it gets any lower. But I think I might go ahead and lower the rear a little bit more, just because it's not even with the front. And it's kind of annoying me how it's kind of slanted like that. So I probably will lower the rear a little bit more, and probably be all set. So it's not too bad. All right, so I just took it for a drive. Everything seems good. I have the tire off because I am going to be lowering the backs probably at least 2 inches more. I'm going to start there. If the back's a little lower than the front, it'll look cool. I like that look when it's slightly lower, a little bit more tuck in the rear. So I'm gonna probably lower the back about 2 inches, then see what it looks like and go from there, and I'll show you guys. All right, so I just finished adjusting them. I just adjusted the rears. I ended up dropping it about like 1 inch, and it's pretty much even with the front now. As you can see, looks pretty cool. I like the little tuck it's got going on. But yeah, not bad. Might have to adjust them a little more. The back on this side looks a little lower than the back on that side. Check the front gap right there. Might have to adjust the fronts too. I didn't touch the fronts from how I bought them. Fronts are, this one looks a little bit lower than that side, so have to tweak them a little bit, but overall I think you guys get the idea. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for this 10th gen Accord. Getting lowered, came out pretty good. These things look sick when they're lowered, so not bad. But that's gonna wrap it up. And if you guys wanna see more videos, I got a bunch more cars still gonna get to. So I don't know if you guys will see a video on this thing. E30 doesn't really need anything crazy. It's got an oil leak and like brakes, or the e-brake. This one you guys will see a video of. I gotta do a timing chain on it, so it's not the most fun video, but I will make a video on that thing. And the Prelude, that Civic, and I don't know about the Teggy back there. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I gotta do. You guys will see a video on my 20th GTI soon. But yeah, it's gonna wrap it up. Peace.